are here. You see what I mean? Because we haven't started the stage, but I wonder if the audience can see us. Well, if they can see us. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Just,
Hello. I'll start in 2 minutes. Do you think we should show some picture of the upside? No, I'll just talk about it quickly about the upside, and then I'll talk quickly about the roadmap, and then I'll leave it to you, Alex. Do we have the orders correct?
I can
So,
go. Yeah.
Alex,
Go ahead.
Hugo, Etienne, Ash, and Dieriba, and Henry. Works?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
And we are live on YouTube, so it works perfectly.
Right. Great. Well, we'll just wait 1 minute for everyone to arrive, and then we'll start. When we start, I will start presenting the roadmap. I'll talk a little bit about what we did last week. We had a nice offsite, and about our strategy and what we've been working on and what I'm working on, and then everyone will present what they're working on. So we'll just wait for 1 more minute, and then we'll start.
Can you add Diego on the stage?
Yeah. I might not be able to.
Yep.
Cool.
Hi, Abel, as well. I see you in the audience.
Cool. Then I guess we'll start. So first off, last week we had a nice offsite. We had the whole team together in Val d'Isère. We did a bit of skiing, but we did a lot of working, and we also took that opportunity to plan a bit for the next 6 months. And as a result, we made a public roadmap. Pretty much every item that we feel is important is on there. The thing is, some of them are actually bigger than actually are a very important task, but they take as much space as less important task. So we try to do these little stars to make sure that they are better surfaced. But it's just that some of those tasks are actually basically going to represent months of efforts, of concerted efforts with many subtasks. I'm thinking in particular of the AI improvements we have planned. Really, this is made of many subtasks. We plan to improve the way you can find jobs, the way you can query the whole workspace, have a chat with a full workflow, have a cursor-like interface, maybe have some prompts also for your arguments. Really, there is a lot in there, and I think it taking just one little space in here doesn't represent well how much efforts we plan to put into that. However, it gives you a very exhaustive overview of all the direction that we're going for. So we're gonna keep this updated. Of course, all the dates here are timelines, expectations. We'll try to keep everything on the timeline, but we cannot give any guarantees. Myself, in particular, working with agent worker through HTTP. We actually have quite a few customers needing it. So the interest is there's two kind of interest for it. One is even if you're self-hosting everything, you might have some workers that are very remote from your clusters because maybe they're on your own customer site, and so the expectations are a bit different. You may need less high throughput, but when you need is more reliability and you need the connectivity to be a lot easier. And so for that, we're going to allow, instead of requiring a TCP connection to the database, we're going to allow it to basically just require an HTTP connection. And we also will refactor and simplify all the permissioning with respect to that. The second use case for it is if you are on our hosted enterprise cloud, you may want to basically have us run almost all the infrastructure, but have one remote worker, and this will allow that. So it's a big refactor of the backend. We basically have to have a duplicate implementation for most operations, be it using the database directly or be it using HTTP calls, but everything going smoothly, and I'm very hopeful to have a V0 by next week. On that end, I think Alex, you also have very exciting things to share. And by the way, at the end of this, you can ask questions about the roadmap and everything. We'll be happy to answer any questions. So Alex, it's to you.
Cool. All right. Yeah, if you can stop sharing, I'll start sharing my screen. Yeah, so the biggest item that is on my to-do list for a roadmap is improving the experience with Git sync. Basically, how we can share or basically how we can sync repositories between Windmill and your GitHub repository. So can you see my screen? I can't see the preview on my... Okay, perfect. So yeah, so the long-term goal is to basically make the experience for Git sync easier and better. Right now, you have to create a resource manually by basically entering your GitHub URL, and this URL would contain your personal access token, which is not ideal from a security perspective. So the first step to improve the overall Git sync and basically integration with your GitHub repo is to use a GitHub app that will basically create an app token that is short-lived and improve the security. So for this, basically now on the resource page, when you try to add a Git repo, you'll have this new button called Install GitHub App to Workspace. If you click it, basically you'll get a selection of GitHub accounts where you have basically permissions to install apps. I'm gonna pick one here. Here you can either select all repositories or manually select the repositories you want to install the app to, install authorize, and this will then redirect you to the app completion, the installation completion. Once this is done, when you refresh, you'll basically see the connected GitHub accounts and the repositories. So once you do that, basically it will fill out the information for you, create a resource for doing the Git sync. So now, as organizations can have multiple workspaces and multiple GitHub repositories and GitHub organizations, there's a more detail on the GitHub on the instance settings from a super admin perspective. Right now, the default really is that if you install how I did it before, it will install it only for that specific workspace. So I was in the test workspace. It installed that app into this organization into this repo. So as an admin, if you want to now enable or allow, for example, this GitHub organization to be also linked to the dev workspace, you can do it through this menu where you basically pick the available workspaces and apps and basically assign it here. So you'll get another installation here. Still working on the UI. There might be some changes here, but the idea is really, as an instance admin, you can control whether an installation should be workspace specific or global, or to add it to multiple workspaces. So once you save that, for example, now I added to the dev workspace these two repos. So if I switch here to dev, I should see both. Maybe if I refresh, yes, yeah, okay, demo effect. But yeah, in general, I should see both connected repositories here, and basically that would be the installation step. Now, on top of that, later the goal would be to also facilitate initialization of repos. Now, if we have an app with the right permissions, we can also create basically the initialization for you, so you don't have to do these steps manually, or even create a new repo inside your organization. So basically the goal really is to simplify this whole workflow. Good. Then the next small feature I added last week was an improvement to the image component. So if you have an image component, right now you have a new option called upload to S3. So this will upload an image to your S3 bucket. So it basically creates a new file on your workspace bucket. You can also go and browse files or images that are already on your bucket. So you can pick them through a S3 file picker. So yeah, that's kind of a nice little feature, because right now if you upload it through this upload button, it basically creates like a base64 encoding of your image, and if you have a lot of images, it might make your app YAML pretty large and inefficient. So this was the other small features. Good. Then next is Hugo.
Yeah, and super cool for the Git improvements. A lot of time when we onboard customers, the majority of the time is actually spent helping them set up Git sync. It's very powerful, very flexible, but a bit complex to set up at first, and that's because the UX could be improved. So, Hugo, if you want to go next.
Let me share my screen. Yeah, can you see it? Yeah, cool. Yeah, so one of the first places we want to improve the AI experience is the script editor. So the first thing we did is try kind of bring this cursor experience to Windmill. And so we've added a new panel on the right here, which might look similar to some of you, but it's basically a chat panel where you can discuss with your AI and basically ask it to make changes to your code, ask questions to it, etc. You also have the possibility to add some context. So, I want you to take the current code into context or not. Of course, this is the only example here, but you can also add, like, if the script has an error, you can also add the error. If the script is related to a database, you can add the database schema into context, and we'll add more possible context elements as we go. So let's do a little demo. Let's do a simple script I could do on Windmill. So we see basically that it kind of first looks for what resources to use, and then generates the script. So we have here a nice diff to see what the changes would be. Once I click on apply, we see that the editor on the left is also adapted to show each individual changes. So that can be useful. Sometimes the AI can hallucinate a bit, or it doesn't do exactly what you want. So you want to go through each change and accept them individually. So here, let's accept them. I think it looks pretty correct. And yeah, so I mean, I think it does what it's supposed to. I'm gonna also show you if let's make the script fail. So we see here that I have an error here, and now I have a new element in my context, which is error, and which contains the current error, and I can ask the AI to kind of look into it and try to fix it. So to make the UI kind of not overwhelmed with this new panel, you can now hide the test panel and also the chat, so you can kind of toggle between those. We've also added like keyboard shortcuts, so Command L for the chat and Command U for the test panel. These might change, but probably not, but we never know. Yeah, I mean, that's basically it for the chat for now, but I think more will come. One thing I forgot to say is that you also have like a history of your recent chats, and you can like go through them, and then if you want to go back to them later on and make sure that, oh, this is what I did last time, etc. It's possible as well. Second thing we want to improve in the code editor is autocomplete. So until now, autocomplete was pretty like basic in the sense that it would only complete between, I mean, where your cursor is. But if you compare it to the cursor experience, it's kind of it's not as good. Like in cursor, it will kind of look before and after and try to fill in everywhere it can. So here's a little example. Yeah, so you see that, oh, he went back and then so that it should also add new parameters and before, and now if I press tab, it will add everything everywhere. So that's pretty cool. So that's the first step. And one thing which is not ready yet, but I'm working on, is have this edit prediction. So now that I've accepted this suggestion, it should also suggest you to do more changes and specify where. So it will probably be done with a similar icon as in cursor. So like a small tab, small tab button or widget that would appear where the next change should happen. Yeah, so that's all for me for now. I think in the coming weeks I'll be showing more and more improvements in the AI ecosystem on Windmill, and I look forward to sharing more. I don't know who's next, but please continue.
I'll go next. That was cool. Let me share my screen now. There we go. Can you see my screen? Yep. Cool. So these are two little features that will come in pretty handy, but they also go kind of hand by hand. So I'll just we'll go first on this first feature, which is backend schema validation. So until now, the Windmill relied on the front end, basically showing you the schema that the every script or flow expects, and there was no validation done on the backend side. This is okay in many cases, but in certain situations, you might want to make sure that that the schema is respected. And because of that, now you will be able to add this little annotation at the top, schema validation. This annotates that this script should run schema validation, and then there will be a little extra computation done at the start of before running the script to make sure that the arguments follow the schema that you specify. So, of course, the schema would be specified here for TypeScript, and so I'll do a little example here. If we just look at the script, this b parameter is supposed to be either the string my or enum. So if I type something other and run it, I'm going to get a little error telling me that it expected my or enum but received other. This is not like a full JSON schema compliant validation, but it's going to test most of the things that you would expect. So like types, is it an int, bool, is it null, is it nullable, enums, objects, and just like go through all the properties of every object. And yeah, hopefully this is useful to many of you. And next is a feature that kind of made us work. We worked initially on this feature, and we decided to first finish the backend schema validation. So this has been requested quite a bit. And basically, right now I have a little setup, a little MySQL database, which has two tables, one called customers with a little, three little sample customers, and another users. I mean, I could have been a little more creative, but this is what we have, right? And in some scripts, you might be able to, you might want to make the table name a parameter, but prepared statements do not allow you to do this. So until now, if you wanted to do this kind of complex things, you would have to make a REST type of script. So basically writing TypeScript to do your requests in TypeScript and do your string interpolation however you want it. But now, what we're going to let you do is to add this little string interpolation kind of parameters. So what I will do here is like put a table name like this. And oh wait. There we go. So in this table name, I've defined that it can be either users or customers, and then run it. And there we go. So why is it important? Why is it related to the schema validation that I presented earlier? Because when you do this kind of things, you have to be very careful. This is a pure string interpolation. It's not going through prepared statements. So one of the protections that we're going to be offering is this enum, certifying that these enums are respected. So whenever you define one of these types, like unsafe in types, it will make sure that the parameters are one of the enum variants that you're specifying. And if it's not, then it will not even run the script. That way we can be sure that it's not you're not putting any string. It's also doing some additional verifications, such as only allowing alphanumeric words to be put in here. So there's no way to do SQL injections by adding like semicolons and comments or anything like that. So it's a very simplified but pretty powerful feature. And just to finish the demonstration, I'll just also add the column name. And for example, you see here that you have on this table you have an ID, name, email, but perhaps you don't want the ID to be visible. So in this column name, I'm just putting the name and email. So now users of the script can only access the name or email, and then run it, and now you get whatever you choose, right? So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, super cool. I mean, it was a very requested feature. The issue is that doing a string interpolation would have been super dangerous because a lot of those SQL scripts are actually used in apps and everything, and we didn't want to users unbeknownst to them to basically just create a huge SQL injection and exposing their whole database. So we were very careful in that implementation, and this seemed like a very safe and extensive approach. So yeah, this is super cool. I guess we're gonna just go a little bit faster for the next two because we're gonna run out of time. Maybe Ash, if you want to do and Diego, if you want to go quickly over your items.
Yeah, I can do really fast. So I've been implementing Java support. I hope you can see my screen. Can you?
Yeah, it's all working fine.
Okay. Yeah. So I create new script, specify Java here, and you can see the initial script of Java. I specified here dependencies. So it can import dependencies and it will actually be pretty smart about it. I will show it in a moment. So I press test. Some of the dependencies I already had in a cache, so they're just being pulled from it. And here, some of them still not installed, and Windmill will actually install them in parallel, every one of them, and cache. Also, it will build the class files into the archive and cache it as well. So here you can see it prints the dragon, and if I test it again, it will not compile it from scratch. It will just take existing file, class file, and just run it. So yeah. As for dependencies, every dependency will not be cached only in local cache, but it will also be cached on S3 cache. So if you're on new instance, it will be pulled from your S3 if you have one, and it will be really fast. Same goes for compiled class files. They're not recompiled for every instance. They are pulled from cache. And it also it is useful for people that are either bound to Java and like have some dependencies or packages that are written in Java that would like to use it. And for these people, you can actually use private repositories. If you add to the comments repository and specify the details of it into the lines below, and also if you go to instance settings, to the registries and to the Maven settings and put here your server configuration, it will be possible to import your private packages to your Windmill scripts and use them. As for you can also get resources here with this pretty cool syntax, I think. And same goes for getting variables. So just click here. I don't have variable, but you can do this there if I were having one. And yeah, the syntax is you just specify main class. You specify public static main method that either returns object or void. And if you specify a void, you don't return anything. And if you specify object, you can return anything. Like you can return integer, string, or boolean, and it will be automatically converts to object. And yeah, it's pretty convenient. You don't have to use anything else but object. Yeah, I think I covered everything for Java. I think it will be released next week because it's mostly done. Just needs some polishing and maybe a little bit more testing. And yeah, that should be it, I think.
Yeah, very cool.
Yep.
I think we had a lot of requests for Java, especially from enterprise. Right now, you could do it by basically using Bash and then pulling your jar and calling Java directly, but it was a mess. This is going to be such a huge improvement for everyone. And yeah, I mean, this is like every feature is going to work as expected. And we expect that a lot of companies will basically put a lot of their code base in a private repository that you can pull as a jar, and then use Windmill to call it with by having one entry point per script. So this will be a way to expose your whole Java code base in Windmill and run it extremely efficiently. There will be no overhead. The pooling of dependencies is cached. The bytecode is cached as well. So this is basically open the way for all the JVM application in Windmill. And Diego, I guess if you want to explain quickly what you've been working on.
Yeah. So it's my first contribution to a Windmill, so I'm excited. It's not a user feature, so I don't have anything to show. It's more of a long-term maintenance thing. So I upgraded the whole front end to Svelte 5 and Vite 6, which will enable us to use the latest features. It was supposed to be backwards compatible with Svelte 4, which it is, but it still introduced a lot of bugs and a lot of breaking changes, especially on the reactive side of things, which I fixed almost all of them. I still have one to go, but it's the whole app seems to work very well on Svelte 5 now. Yeah, I don't have much to show practically though.
Very cool. Yeah, I'm so we've been very early Svelte adopters, and which means we were in Svelte 4, and a lot of our code base make a lot of Svelte 4 assumptions. So it's not a means feat, but we're going to be able to update to Svelte 5, and this is not something you will see necessarily the benefit of, except maybe performance improvements and our ability to update using state-of-the-art libraries everywhere. And Henry, maybe if you have a closing statement or want to talk briefly about something else, otherwise we vary over time. So up to you. I hope people stayed for the questions afterwards.
Yeah, I think we've been a bit over time. On my side, I've been working on customer stuff, which is great news. Windmilling is doing well the last week, so nothing to introduce really for the community. Let's switch to the Q&A part. Sorry.
Great. So I guess we can start with one question about what Java SDK does this use. I think we're going to use one of the latest one. Java is mostly back compatible, so it's unlike Python. We probably won't have to basically support many runtimes at once, but it's something that is TBD. What is the best strategy? We haven't necessarily took a decision on this, but you can expect us to use one of the latest release version and to find a reasonable strategy to allow everyone to use the SDK that they need. Oh, and OpenGDK versus GraalVM. I'm not sure yet. I think probably we'll do the most reasonable thing, which is to use OpenGDK, because I think GraalVM is a bit more experimental. But it's something we probably have to discuss internally as well. So.
And I think Dieriba has been skipped somehow.
Oh yeah, sorry.
This is best for the end.
Dieriba, do you want to show quickly what you
Yes, I would like to show what I am working on.
I
So-
apologize.
So can you hear me?
Yeah.
So I'm currently working on a webhook integration for Windmill. Currently there is already webhooks, but this time it's for signatures, another identification method for webhooks. And currently Windmill only supports bearer authentication. And now we also support signatures. So you have to choose the UI may change. For now, you can choose a resource which represent the webhook integration. You can choose between many providers. Currently, there is not many, but we'll add many of them. So you can choose. This one is for GitHub, but we're going to take the one from Stripes. You have to choose the provider and the secrets, and to update the script, the trigger associated with it, the manual, and then you can just. This is the Strap CLI, which allows you to send the webhooks event for local development. I'm just going to fire one. You can see it, and here you can see that the script executed. It was just fast, and basically this is just the webhook event. You receive it, and it's okay.
Super cool.
This is,
Yeah, it's also been a very requested features, especially we're gonna do the verification on the server side, which mean a lot of systems actually both require signature verification, but also require like a response in reasonable time. So this is gonna unlock a few blockers for quite a few of our customers. So yeah, it's a very challenging features to build because we have to generalize over all the possibilities, and yeah, Dieriba is has implemented a very flexible solution. So we're excited to show it to everyone. If there is no more other questions, I guess thank you everyone that stayed, and see you next week.
See ya.
So yeah, everyone.
See you. Bye.
See ya.
Bye.